kind of start closing out the show, our friends over at Oni. Well, I asked the guys like, is there anything you guys want to maybe review for the show? And Jeff immediately popped up and said, "Hey, we have Skin Police."
You have Skin Police.
We do have Skin Police because our friends over at Oni Press sent us an advanced copy. Let me give you a quick synopsis. We'll talk about the creative team on Skin Police, and then we'll talk about the actual book. So, from writer Jordan Thomas and artist Daniel Gete comes a sci-fi action spectacle that will force you to trust no one. I'm already there, friend. Uh, in the in the year 2142, fertility levels around the globe plummeted, and a black market for illegal clone babies emerged. Millions of parents used their own genetic material to welcome these new children, only realizing the horrific consequences far too late. At some point in their life cycle, 3 in 4 of the genetic duplicates transform into psychologically unstable killing machine known as dupes. Fortunately, the United Nations of Europe has decided to take on an active role in containing the growing threat. Their specialized task force has taken up the unenviable task of hunting down dupes before their violence can spread. To the government, they are the duplicate identification and capture division. To everyone else, they're the skin police. The worst part of the job, it's always the one you least suspect. Uh, as I mentioned, this is written by Jordan Thomas with art by Daniel Gete, Jason Wardy on colors, and Jeff Powell on letters. Uh, Jeff, since you kind of requested this, do you want to kick us off? What did you think of Skin Police?
I really liked it. Hard not to compare it to Blade Runner.
Oh,
Yeah.
And also there's a tiny bit of a fun with what is it, Soylent Green,
yes.
maybe in there. So you get those flavors very early on, but then it quickly turns into an allegory for abusive police forces, just the haves and have-nots, and it's good. The artwork is really good. It does. I feel like they're not very subtle in those allegories of like just police being able to do whatever they want. The lead detective has a key that gets him through any door, and he's taking on this rookie cop person, and she's just like, well, this everything we do kind of seems fishy, which kind of feels like I'm like, why'd you join the force?
Right.
Yeah. So it feels like there's a bigger mystery kind of going into it. It's really I really enjoyed it. It's really interesting. The artwork is really good in it too.
Yeah.
All right, Clay, what did you think of Skin Police?
I dug it. I mean, the art is top notch. Like that is probably my favorite thing from this book. It gave me a very heavy metal vibe. You know, it seems like a book I would pick up in the middle of heavy metal and go, I need to read this whole run. It gives great visuals of not only like the world, but what the crazy people are seeing in their mind. So I'm curious if that's going to develop more in the story, because like that boat at the very beginning where you see all the people on the ship. Oh man, I love that opening. The only thing I had a problem with was there's this intro that kind of explains the story before you read the story, which kind of explains what the intro is. And that's the only problem. It didn't need the intro because the story told the story.
I 100% agree with you. I was actually very frustrated with that. And I almost wondered if that was like an editorial decision to do it, because one thing I really want to applaud this book with is it is kind of like with Black Cloak. It is a great example of how to present complex world building in a very organic way. Right.
Yeah.
And I agree. It did not need that little synopsis at the beginning. Just throw you in right off the bat and you're going to get it as you read the issue.
Yeah.
Also, I love the art. It's very John Arcudi style.
Yeah.
Right. And so, it was good. It was good. I really liked it.
I also really liked it. As soon as Jeff picked this, I told him that it gave me like 2000 AD vibes.
Yep.
And I'm sure these creators probably have worked on some 2000 AD stuff. Obviously, like you mentioned, Blade Runner, but there's a lot of Judge Dredd in this. Like, it's a very similar concept, just like with different implications, a different world around it. I really like
Also,
art.
also, it kind of turns into V for Vendetta at the very end.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, a little bit. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like without giving anything too much away. So like
Yeah.
uh a lot of different commentary. When I was putting together the preview, I saw these black and white pages and I was like, man, I almost wish that they were like that we could see the art with in black and white. I think it would look
Yeah.
super cool.
I wonder if they're
Um,
not going to do a black and white release at some point.
that would
That
be
would be awesome.
crazy. I think so. When I picked up, I found these online. Because I'm still getting used to working within the Oni press kit environment. So I was
Mhm.
like, I don't have time for this. So this is like from a preview from like a month or two ago. So I'm sure everything wasn't finished. But I was like, man, I'm glad I found it because I think I really like the one of the things that they use is the eyes tell a lot of
Yeah.
emotion, like a lot of what's happening here, the eyes of the characters, which is interesting because like as you can see here, he's got his eyes covered, right? And obviously that's been a thing with
Yeah.
like police forces that they'll
Oh,
normally cover their face for different different things. So that's definitely part of the commentary. But even the relationship with the rookie that we meet later, like I was like, oh, that's just I haven't read enough Judge Dredd, but that's straight out of the Dredd 2012 movie
yep.
Yep.
with the police. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was really hooked. I think this is only 4 or 5 issues, so it's not like the biggest commitment, but it's definitely something fun to kind of definitely very feels very European of like this. Like this is not that's kind of the type of books that they're doing over there, which is very cool to sometimes kind of step out of it. And I'm glad Oni is bringing stuff like that uh, to the market, so people can kind of get on board with that. So, all right, any last thoughts on Skin Police?
Nope.
Okay,
That is
well,
good.
great. Recommend it as always. Let me show you some of the covers to kind of close it out here.